Hello, Noella. Welcome to the Biig Africa Podcast. It's really great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bamai, for having me.
So, you're Noella. You're an author. You're a girls' rights activist. You're a communications expert. You wear so many hats. You're an actress, a movie producer, quite a few things. But I think the biggest thing that I know you for is of course you're an author. Your book on learning, breaking free, a transition from lovelessness is really a gripping read. When I read it, it really held me. I couldn't stop. It's one of those books that you read from cover to cover in one sitting. It was really amazing. What inspired you to write this book?
This book is all about me. It's my story. It's me from my from my 10 to 20, 29 years old. So it's just that life of, living as a young girl, underprivileged in Africa, and then just going through it all. Because a lot of people talk about girls' issues, girls go through these, girls do these, but I don't think that they really understand what it means. They talk about things that maybe they pick up from reports produced by non-governmental organizations, they pick up from hearsay, but I wanted to share with the world a first witness experience, of what it truly means to grow up as an underprivileged young girl in Africa. And I was just smiling because you said it's a gripping read, like in one sitting. And I have one of my brothers, he read it and he told me I didn't put this thing down from the moment I started. And it's quite a nice feeling. But that's what inspired the story.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's really strong motivation. And this type of motivation, definitely a book like this, it gives a lot of intricate details about your life, about your person. Most people, especially in our society, would shy away from giving this type of details, wanting to be too private or too modest. Why did you feel like this type of really gripping and detailed, intimate story about yourself was necessary to tell?
It's authentic. I think that's the word. Yeah. For what I was looking to do, for the kind of experience I was looking to share, I couldn't hide it. And you're right, there were times I was writing, I'm like, do I really want the world to, know this about me? Do I want the world to know that on this specific day, at this specific time, this is what I was doing, this is who I was with, and that there are actually people that can corroborate the story. But, it needed to be there. Because a lot of people are getting an idea of what growing up as a young girl is from reading those details. And I bet you, I cannot tell you the number of women, my friends, colleagues, family, just strangers that I don't know from anywhere, whose story this book also is. A lot of people think it's just my story, but I tell you there are lots of young women whose story this is as well. But they didn't have the voice. And unfortunately for me, I've always been, very bold, very outspoken, something that I was actually shunned for my whole life. But then when I found that my voice was my powerhouse, I said I need to tell this story not just for me, but for these other young women. I mustn't name them, but through me, they get to relate, they get to find themselves. And some people even read and they're like, but this is me. This thing was happening exactly to me at this specific time. So those details were necessary. I couldn't shy from them. I couldn't lie about it. I couldn't hide it, no matter how much it made maybe people see me. Because I know, like you said, in our context, people will be like, oh, you don't say this kind of thing. You don't. This is a book about me and my mom and the way I tell the story. You don't say that about your mother, right? But that is how it is. That is what happened, and it needs to be said. So I put it out there.
Yeah, that's true. And looking at what you mentioned in the book, your relationship with your mother, it really is a complex relationship, and and I think it's something that got to define you as a person. And you talk about, not feeling beautiful, but I look at you today. You're confident and incredibly beautiful woman. How did you make that transition from dealing with a mother who was very difficult to deal with, and that said all these things which affected your self-worth, and developing into the person that you are today?
Very difficult journey. I think I'm still on it, because there are still those times when you feel you're not enough. Some words still get to you, but then it's the thing about me is I have always known that I was not those things, and I think that is what maybe not many people liked around me. I was in a geography where you could say those things. I wasn't the only one that was said to, but it's just that it had been the norm for such a long time that even when you see it happening to someone, they don't question it. Like, you take it as it's given to you. You don't ask questions. You don't rebel. You don't say no to anything. You take it as it's given. And then the problem with me was I didn't take it. Sometimes I'm thinking that maybe it's the fact that I moved from my village to town really early, and then I used to live with my mom's older sister, my adoptive mom, and I thought she was the most beautiful woman in the world, and so that started setting standards of beauty for me. And I remember when she would buy me a really nice dress, or I remember this one Christmas I slept with my Christmas shoes, and it didn't pose a problem to her. So those kinds of things made me know I was beautiful until I left from there, and then I moved to this place where, well, then I was not. So the transition, as you're growing up as a young girl, and there's also a lot of societal pressure, right? Because no matter what you think, there are also things that away from this person, people would also say to you. When you're a young girl, when you're an adolescent, maybe, or you're a young adult, when you're walking on the streets. I'll just take a quick example. In our markets, you know how you go to the market, and then maybe when you're passing around, those boys that sell maybe clothes, or they're pulling you, and then maybe they might pull you, and then you're like, oh no, I don't want it. And they're like, hey, tu penses que tu es qui? L'aide fille. And I tell you, those things look like they don't get to people, but I bet you they do. That just that one line can literally spoil your whole day. And they don't say it too. They don't look at the girls before saying it. You would see a very, very beautiful girl, and when they say it, they know that she's beautiful. They know they're bruising your ego, but it gets to you. So for me, it's really, like I was just in our pre-discussions before, I was just saying, I read a lot of books growing up. I read, my God, I can't even read now. I don't even have that time anymore. But I read so many books that I knew what was wrong. They say knowledge is power, right? I knew when it was wrong. And I knew that beauty comes in so many forms. It's true that people set their standards. I mean, they set standards that they don't have, and then they go on cutting parts of their body and fixing the holes in their teeth and doing anything to fit back into those standards that they set. But from the books I read, one of the very earliest books that influenced my perception of myself was Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. And if you've read Jane Eyre, you'll know that is how Jane used to feel about herself. Because her family, that's what they said about her. She was not until she met this Rochester of a man. So when I started reading that part in the book, to me, I was surprised at how much someone has been ugly, because I used to believe she was, all her life, and then this very rich, this very, solicited man finds her as the most beautiful thing. What is it about her? And then I knew that he found her intelligence beautiful. He found maybe the way she would mock at something beautiful. Her laugh was beautiful. And then I started finding those things in me. I bet you, today I speak about my voice and I'm loud, but there are times when I didn't even like hearing my own self, because my whole life they had told me, anytime I speak, even when I'm shushing, they're like, oh, shh, lower your voice is too loud, But then I started finding pleasure in my voice when I started theater. And anytime I would come on the stage, people will be struggling, you know, an actor is performing and they're saying, please, volume. The moment I come, they're like, that's Ngunyam. That's how they call me in the theater space. They say, that's Ngunyam. That's our girl. Like, we don't need to stress with her. Then I fell in love with my voice. Before then, I had fallen in love with how smart I was. I used to have imposter syndrome. I didn't want to say it, but then I owned up to it. I was smart. I understood things that people didn't understand. I didn't need to read to pass an exam. I started appreciating those things about me. I started appreciating my body. And I bet you that was the worst war as a young woman. Your body can never, even the most beautiful girl, she feels she's not enough. But then I found things about me that were nice for me. And then, you know, I fell in love with myself. I started falling in love even with my writing. I would write something and read. I'm like, girl, you didn't write this. You have too much sense. You know, so just those things, beat by beat, one thing after the other. That's why I say it was a journey. It still is. Yeah, because sometimes I'm like, can I change my legs for someone else's legs? But yeah, I mean, today there's nothing you're telling me, because I find you beautiful. You don't have to be tall or short or fat or slim or whatever. I find myself beautiful. I find, you know, I don't know who beautiful. You don't set standards for me. I set the standard for what I want to consider as beauty in me. And that beauty, my powerhouse today, my voice, my mind, what I do for people, it makes me know that I am beautiful. So yeah.
That brings me back to one of the problems that I see in society today. You know, a lot of young girls have basically that same problem, and maybe instead of looking at it like the way you just explained, they look at it in another way, and they find it really difficult to live with those that are basically supposed to be there for them. It could be parents or your guardians. So how do you, as someone who has been through that journey, you know, finding yourself from being a young girl to being able to find yourself and be a confident young woman who knows their worth in the world, what advice can you give to, say, a parent that has a young girl that is going through that type of worry, that is in their head a whole lot, feeling that they are not enough, feeling that they need to do more or be more to, you know, be worthy?
You know, that's a hard one. That's a hard one because the influences, particularly around young girls today, it's a lot. The moment you turn an eye, you have a classmate in school that's telling you, oh no, you're too dark, you know, you can have this thing that I use, it can make you fairer. Or you turn to the left, there's another person say, oh, why do you have so much acne? You know, I have this thing you could use to clean it off. And it is really hard, but I think that for you as a parent, the first thing you do is teaching by example. Your child knows if you're a confident person, you know, if you like yourself as you are. Obviously, if you begin changing yourself, then that's the lesson you're giving your daughter or your son. You're trying to tell them they're not enough, because you're the parent, you don't even think you're enough. And I totally understand, right? Because it's such a cycle. It's not as if you're the parent. Most of our parents too grew up in cycles where they were always told that they were not enough. So all their lives, they're trying to fit in. Your parents will tell you you're not enough. Maybe you end up with a husband who tells you you're not enough. Your friends tell you you're not enough. And then you spend your whole life trying to fit in. If you're a people pleaser, if you're someone who you live your life according to the terms that people set for you, then obviously what do you expect of your child? For me, for example, in my household, I'm someone, I love music. I love a lot of music. And I listen to so many kinds of it. Like the musics I listen to, if you see me at work and they tell you I can be listening to that kind of stuff, you'll be like, nah, that's not her. So today in my household, I have like a full house. I live with my niece, I live with my son, I live with my older sister, I live with my younger sister. It's a full house. And I remember that when I got particularly these children, with my older sister, we sort of have the same characteristics because we grew up together. So our mom influenced us too. But when these children came, I I got them all from the village and they came. Remember, my younger sister used to be, she likes the music, but because she has been in a space where she's always enclosed, because that's what it means over there, to show that you're a good girl. You don't be too loud. Why are you dancing? Good girls don't dance. Good girls go to the farm and they work a whole farm a day. Good girls, they go to church. You don't talk. So she always used to have this envelope around her. And what I started doing is, like, if you come to my house on Saturdays, especially when, I've not traveled, no one has traveled, we're all at home, it's really restful. It's crazy. Like, we're playing, my son is 12 now. This guy literally, he sings Gilobe. Like, which 12-year-old sings Gilobe? He sings, and then he sings Grass Deka. When he's singing, he's dancing, and then he's enjoying like that. And I'm like, man, because the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted a house where children can express themselves. It doesn't mean I'm not strict. I bet you I'm very strict, and I can lose it very quickly. But I wanted my kids to trust me to begin with. Because I remember how I used to be with a parent I didn't trust. And even when I would gather my courage and go to her with something that I felt like, this was like parent-child moment, the next day I'm hearing my name all over the village, is blowing proportions. So I wanted my children to know that as much as I need you to be focused, to know what you want in life, you learn it from me. You see the way I go on my job. You see the way I go at the things that matter to me. You even see the way I take care of you. If you have an issue, I want you to know that you can trust me to come say it. So if I'm dancing my song, feel free to come dance the song. And I'm with my kids, and my son literally say, "Oh, Mom, can we play this song? I really feel like dancing." If they see me reading a book, they're like, "Oh, Mom, what are you reading?" Maybe I'll be like, "No, this book is not for you. It's rated. It's too much for you. You can rather read this one." Or my son or my younger sister or whatever, if you have your boyfriend, I want you to come and say, "Hey, sis, today I want to go and see my boyfriend." You're 22. Go see your boyfriend. I mean, I'm not going to stop the hormones from flowing in you. I can't do that. So that's the first thing. And then it makes them know that, and I'll tell you the truth, my younger sister is one of the persons I'm most proud of. She is in check. She respects you, but she also knows that she's allowed to do stuff. So that makes her not to go out of her way, maybe to want to hide things from you, to want to go to places where you don't know she is at. Or maybe I tell her, "You were big enough, go out dance with your friends." I used to go out dancing with. It's actually something that I love. I love to do it. So go do it. So I feel like establishing that system of trust, right? Where your kids feel like they can look up to you. You're a model for them. And also, if you do something wrong that hurts them, they're able to say, "Oh yeah, yes, I know, but the way you spoke to me about this thing that I did not even do, I didn't really appreciate it." And then you move on from there to another form of security is, the way you carry yourself. My kids see it. They see that I like myself. I don't need to go do things. I have been dark for ages. I don't need to be fair. If you're not liking me because I'm dark, you're not liking me, and I'm not liking you. Like, go your way, let me go mine. I don't need to have to start putting things on me. I could. Especially now that I can afford it. I could be anything that I want to be, but I'm not going to be it. I'm still going to be me. So I feel like, it's not an easy thing to do, because you have to work on yourself as a parent first. And then you have to establish or set foundations in your home that allow for your kids to be able to look out or look up to you. So that when they go out there and all of those people are saying things that don't make sense, they come back and then the rain check. They get back into the fundamentals, and then they go out there, influence again, and they come back. So they will always know at the back of their mind, my mom never did this, my dad never did this. I don't need to do this much. I mean, I'm okay as I am. I don't need to have to stretch it. So,
definitely need a lot of reframing on the part of the parent to be able to make sure that the kid stays in check. And coming back to your story, in your book, you talk about getting pregnant as a teenager. So do you think that this the what I talked about earlier, the fact that as a young girl you're not connected to those around you in your immediate environment, for example your family, you have that disconnect. Do you think that for example in your case that was one of the causes of you being able to find solace elsewhere, and be interacting with maybe people of the opposite sex, where you thought you would be able to find this solace, this meaning in your life?
Oh, it absolutely, absolutely. As a young girl, when you begin to, like we say, in our communities, when you begin to mature, you become adolescent. One of the things that I would have loved to be told is the things that you can't even influence them, if even if you wanted to, right?
Yeah.
A young person functions with a lot of hormones. I never knew that there was anything like hormones. I never knew that maybe I have a period because I can't control it. Even if I didn't want to have it, I'll still have it because that's biology. That's the way it is. I never knew that once you start having those periods, it's a whole cycle. There are times when you're okay, and not even just sexual intimacy wise, but even just in terms of your mood, your body, the way it changes, the way you think. I didn't know those things could even influence you like that. And so I would have loved to today, like what happens for me in my particular case, now that I know, today I'm able to tell the young girls around me, those that live in my house, those that I support externally, those under my organization, I'm able to know, like, you can be with a child, maybe 16, 17 years old, and you say something and the child snaps, and maybe it can actually come to my mind, like, what cycle of their period is it? It's not necessarily like this is a stubborn child or this is a bad child. Nobody ever told me that. So when I got to the point where I was in a home, because I was outgoing, I think that's one of the things. Another child would have sat in there. I mean, I tried it all anyways. There were times I sat in there, but I wanted to go away from that space. And also one of the things that happened to me was I had lost someone that I used to look up to as a mom. There was that factor that was playing in. And I was craving to find this mom in the one that was in front of me then. And I wasn't finding it. And I spent a lot of time asking myself, but what is wrong? What is wrong? What did I do? Well, I just want someone to say kind words. And I mean, if it is the young boy that says kind words to you, because that is their own world they grow up in, as adolescent boys, you have to prove that, oh, you can get a girl. Not every boy can get a girl. And if you're able to actually say something, and she actually says yes to it, then you gain a certain charisma among your friend cycle, right? So, but now you're the young girl. You don't know that it's such a system for them. You don't know that it's a thing, because even they don't even realize the consequence of what it means. So when you find somebody and you've been in a space where all your life you're ugly, you're not worth it, you're this, and someone is like, oh, you look really good. No, there's no way you're not going to think about that twice. There's no way you're not going to believe it. To them, they're just playing their game. They just say it. They don't, because first of all, we women are very emotional. Like even as adults today, even before you look at the woman-man relationships, before a man says something to you and you're like, oh no, he's probably just joking. It always first registers. It registers. You have that emotional side. You have that liking to what he said. So yeah, I had this escape, and I went. And in my mind, for me, I was thinking every day was just going to be like it has been throughout my life. I didn't know then that the changes in my body, the changes in the boy's body, it was going to lead to something. And funny enough, I actually got to the point where, because we have this whole concept of virginity and good girl syndrome. Yeah, you're a virgin, you're a good girl, obviously. Not necessarily anyways, I don't think, but that's me. But because you have to preserve yourself, and that kind of gives you a certain value, to me, I felt like breaking it was a good form of rebellion against the person I was preserving it for. Because then I was preserving it for my mom. I didn't know what it meant for a man to be with a woman who had never had any intimacy. That didn't matter. It was none of my business. But I was more preserving it so, and I think a lot of young girls do. You preserve yourself so your parents can go around being happy that you are a virgin. It only actually registers in your mind the goodness or maybe the impact of virginity when you're a full-blown adult and you understand what it means to be ovulating and your libido is high up there and you're keeping yourself. That is when you understand what it means to preserve yourself. But then when you're younger, it's not even for you. So for me, I felt like taking this very valuable thing away from my mom was actually a nice form of rebellion, and I didn't understand it had any effect. But then look at a case where I was with a woman who has gone through all of these things. And I actually saw the difference when my younger sister was, she was around that age. And the times my mom would come and she's like, oh, I'm going to beat her. And then I asked her one question. I was like, when you were her age, did you never just sit and you want to have a man telling you look good? Like be honest. This is not stop. This don't make as if, you're too clean or you are a woman. I'm a woman now. I'm grown. I've been through it. I know you have been through it. You can't lie to me. You can maybe lie to my younger sister because she doesn't know your part of the story yet. I was like, leave her alone. You cannot counsel her by beating her or by shouting at her. You did it with me. It didn't work. You can't do it. You need to talk to her and you need to present to her case scenarios where you tell her, okay, you know what? Where you are now, this is how your body is behaving. This is what it can lead you to do. It is up to you to choose. Know that if you go this way, this is what you get. If you go this way, this is what you get. My younger sister today, like I was saying, she's 22. She's not pregnant. I got pregnant at 17. And I think that is actually because she has that knowledge. And I started talking to my younger sister a long time ago. When my mom would come with the backing, I would call her and I'm like, girl, I got pregnant at 17, right? If you continue on that road, you're going to get pregnant at 17. And I'm not even sure if you're as strong as me. I'm not sure if you wouldn't be getting into abortions. I'm not sure if, you wouldn't, because the abortion thing is you're risking your life because I'm not even sure you'll be doing it the correctly medical way. You'll probably be picking up pills that your friends has given you and maybe you take and you never know how you would end. So are you strong enough? Think about it. Well, today she's 22. She's not pregnant. She had the knowledge. I didn't have the knowledge. I have lots of friends that got pregnant like me. They didn't have the knowledge. So yes, absolutely. The way you connect or disconnect from your child, it impacts these kinds of things. Anytime you see a teen girl pregnant, forget about she was a very stubborn girl. She's never at home. What is she running from at home? You, the parent, ask yourself the question.
Yeah, definitely food for thought. Definitely for parents. And in the book you talk about the period of your pregnancy as being 9 months in hell.
Yeah.
Why was it so difficult?
I was all alone. I was all alone. I had never been pregnant before. Even an adult woman who has all the support, who has even already been pregnant, she will tell you no pregnancy is easy. And, that was, oh my God, that is nothing I would wish for anyone. From the first day till the last, I was all alone. And so I was in a community where lots of young girls had gotten pregnant around that age group. So the people I depended on for information were those young girls. I would go to them and be like, oh, okay, so when it's like this, and then they will tell you their own part of the story. There are those whose parents supported them, and there are those, a good deal, that were also left on their own. And there were those who were left on their own, and then the boys could do something for them. And there were those who were left on their own, and not even the boys could do anything. So in my case, and also one thing with me was, even in a home where you've always had a good relationship with your parents, obviously, if you get an early and unwanted pregnancy, there's a disconnect. There's a time when your parents are angry, and it really takes them, because they say parents will always love children. It really takes them when they actually become conscious of, oh, they're going to have a grandchild, and, you connect back with them. But imagine the situation for me where I had always been disconnected. And then you come and do this big thing again. You're pregnant. And you're in a house with people who don't even talk to you. They don't even regard you. You're completely ignored. So no one is going to come and have that conversation with you then. No one is going to come and sit you down and say, oh, as a woman, when you get pregnant, you have to do this. Because there are lots of things that you have to do. There's a way you have to take care of yourself, even for your health, and then the baby. And I was also in a community where, from hearsay, there were lots of girls doing away with babies. Some were aborting the traditional way, herbs, whatever. There were days when a girl would come to school, she wouldn't finish the school day, she would be bleeding all over, and then there would be rumors of, oh, she aborted, oh, she did. But funny enough, that never crossed my mind. I don't know why. Because if that had crossed my mind, maybe I would have spent maybe the first trimester of the pregnancy struggling to get this. Or I just went about my life. And maybe I thought it was going to be easy. I never thought it was going to be that hard. But then things started changing very fast. A baby is coming. Nobody's saying anything to you. That baby needs to wear clothes. I'm not stupid. I've read books. I've seen films. I know how they take care of babies. That baby needs to have something to eat. And now, as I always used to tell my mom, when you bring a child into the world, you're responsible for them. I was bringing one into the world. So now I had to be responsible for them. And whether my mom liked me or not, whether I had a good relationship with my mom or not, whether she took care of me or not, I had to take care of this child. I wasn't going to sit in front of a child and be saying, oh, because my mom didn't take care of me, I'm not taking care of you. So yeah, very fast. Then I got pregnant when I was in lower state. I had my O level. And I was a smart kid. I used to like to teach people. So the first thing that comes to my mind is, where do I get money to go to the health center? So I sit down and then I pick up these typing sheets and I write applications to teach in primary schools around. Because actually, most of the people that taught in the primary schools, they were just O-level graduates. And I knew I could be a good teacher. I used to do lesson notes for my mom. I mean, it was easy picking for me. And then I start going around. And then people are saying no. Until this one government primary school, they give me a chance. And then it's like, oh, I'm supposed to be an assistant teacher, part-timing, this. And I tell you, the distance to leave my house to go to this school, they used to, if you know Northwest villages, you know they're very hilly. So there used to be this hill. And I walked that hill from the first day up until the very last. I walked that hill. For what amount of money? 7,000 francs, I think. That would be paid to me like, oh, on a market day, if you're looking to see the headmaster, he's in a good mood, he'll give you 1,000 after you've taught for 4 months. And then, so my oldest sister, she had given birth to her baby maybe a few years back. So there were still some 1 or 2 baby things hanging around. I picked up this stuff. I had to, I just had to go. I didn't think that there was ever a day I would sit and be giving an excuse to a child, because I best knew how that felt. No one was doing anything for me. So I didn't want to bring a child into the world and have to start spitting excuses to them. So I went on. I didn't know how the day was going to be. If I was sitting here, I didn't know how tomorrow was going to be. I could have had a complicated pregnancy. I didn't even know what you do if a pregnancy gets complicated. Up until the day I was even supposed to give birth, I didn't know what labor was like. I just knew that, they say it hurts. So I knew, if something is hurting me, then it's labor. And thank God, everything went on so well that the only thing that hurt me was actually the labor. And then I'm like, oh no, my friends used to say when it starts hurting, you have to wait a bit. And then as it gets worse, then okay. I said the whole night, it was hurting. And the morning I was supposed to go and give birth, And I wouldn't believe otherwise, because now that I've given birth, if I were with a young woman here and she was in labor, even if she didn't know, I would know. It's like, they say sometimes a girl is pregnant, she doesn't even know, but a mother would look and she's like, you're pregnant. Yeah. So there's no way I would ever believe that when my mom walked past me, lying on that courtyard, she didn't know that's what I was going through. Because, you watch a pregnancy grow, it's a term. And she went and passed. What was I going to do? What, crawl and make her? She obviously not even look at you. So when it was time, I felt like, it's time to give birth. I got up and I cried my way to the health center. I would fall and roll on heels, and those who were laughing, and those who wanted to help, they wanted to help. Then before I knew it, I had a baby in my hands. And from that day, I've always felt like, now I am responsible for this child. Now, maybe that's why I've always had this go-getter attitude. Now I need to make sure that I feed this child. I clothe him. I pay for his school. No one wanted to pay for mine, but I'm not going to make that mistake. So yeah, I'm hoping that in a book, I was able to communicate that, but honestly, I'm not even sure any amount of words that I write or I say can actually describe what that whole process looked like for me. Sometimes I just kind of lock it at the back of my mind. I'm like, no, I don't want to think about you. Don't come close to me. but yeah, I know I can go on and on about this, but it was one of the most difficult things in my life. It actually makes me fear childbearing. Sometimes I'm like, am I ready? Am I sure I want to have a child again? Nope, I'm not sure. So yeah, that's 9 months in hell.
Really difficult experience. I can only imagine. Definitely. And yeah, I think from what you talked about, a normal person, let me put it that way, a normal person, the everyday person would settle into a life of mediocrity, a life of just settling for whatever, maybe continue the teaching that you were doing for the rest of their life. But you had another vision. You had incredible amounts of drive to go back to school and be able to achieve what you've been able to. What gave you that drive, to not say I'm just a single mother, my life is ending here. What gave you that drive to push even more?
I've always wanted to make it better for the next young girl. It didn't matter who she was. Could have been my younger sister, could have been my nieces. I watched them grow in that village and I was real frightened for them. Could have been my cousins, could have been just random young girls that I used to see in my village, and I'm like, they deserve better. They deserve more. So right from the times that I experienced these things that I experienced, I always used to tell myself, like, when I used to have the dynamics with my mom, I would always say, I would never treat a child like this. And to be able not to treat a child like that, poverty is a big influence in how society treats, maybe children, or even how people treat themselves. Poverty is a big influence. So I knew that I needed to make money. And to make money, you have to work hard. When you have no godmother, no godfather, no uncle, auntie is going to come and save you. If they could, they would have saved you a long time ago. So I started working towards that vision. Today, I run Girls Are Rising as an education and empowerment initiative for young girls, but it didn't start from now. It started right from those times. I couldn't make it better for everybody. Even still today, I can't. Sometimes I wish I can do a lot more, but I can't. But I knew that even if it's one person, if I'm able to have resources because I remember when I had the baby and I wanted to go back to school, my mom, she wouldn't. She was like, no, you're not. And that was hell for me. Going through university to have my first degree, it was hell. And still then I said, no young girl deserves this. And I was also wondering how many of them would be as strong as I was. Because I know I was really strong. I went through it all. But I was really always, the dignity person I have to be, I didn't want to earn my life in ways that weren't good, as per how we define good. I didn't want to give off parts of myself that weren't even necessary to be able to make it so I could help those youngest, because I knew that would make them never to believe. And then they would be tempted to do those kinds of things that I have done to make it. So I knew that I had to make it the right way. I had to go to school. Education, for me, I feel like education is one of the most important things in a person's life. After education, I needed to build a career. What kind of career do I build? I was also, when I left the village and I came to town, Facebook was really a hot thing then. And I used to see the things that would happen on Facebook. If I needed to sell myself, it was very easy. You just needed to take your phone, go on Facebook, look through profiles, say hello, hi here and there, take like a funny picture of yourself, send it up, and yeah, you were gone. So all those times that I never had a roof over my head, I never had something to eat, it was not because there was no way. There were so many ways. But that is not how I wanted to inspire young girls. That is not how I wanted to make them believe that it was possible. In the kind of community I come from, if you want to be someone, you're a teacher or you're a policeman, or well, very recently, you're a nurse working in, some health center. But I wanted young girls to know that it's very easy to earn millions as a young person, doing a good job, actually getting up, going to your office every day. You don't need to drink anybody's blood. You don't need to sleep with anybody. You don't need to, I don't know what, any of those funny things. You just need to build yourself. You just need to take that smartphone that you have. You go on Google, do some research. What are the job trends? Looking at the kinds of skills, I think that I used to, today with AI, they call it like prompt generation, right? But I think that I used to generate prompts on Google even when AI was not something. Because I would literally take my ETEL smartphone, I would go in there and I'll be like, I am a bilingual young girl. I live in Cameroon. I have a bachelor's. Like I'm typing that on the search bar. I have a bachelor's degree in performing arts and cinematography. What kind of job can I do? I know how to write. I know how to speak. I can post on social media. That is what I did before communications popped up. And I was like, okay. So there's actually something that encompasses all these things that I have. Because I studied film and theater, but I knew that it didn't pay in the country. So that is how I went into communications. Now, getting into communications, I saw these whole schools. There was Estik, there was Irik, there was Siantu. I could never do any of those schools. I didn't have the money. The only thing was I had a bachelor's degree from Guaikele. What do I do with it? And then I started learning about you can level up your skills by taking certifications. I slept on Coursera. Like anything that will have communications, anything, I would sleep on there. That is why I know the jargon of the domain, because I did all of those courses. And sometimes I will finish and I'll be so frustrated that I have to buy a certificate. Couldn't buy the certificate. Didn't even know what it means to live in Cameroon and pay for something in dollars there. But I had gotten the knowledge. I would go to people's companies. There was a time I walked around Yaoundé with 150 piles of handwritten applications. Oh my God. That was 2017? I would work anywhere there was anything like an office. I would knock on there and I would enter. I'll tell you a small anecdote. Like 2 years back, I was dating this guy, right? And when I met him, he was like, oh, yeah, no, my sister owns this company, I was like, okay. So we got to the company, and I'm looking at that place. I'm looking. And, he didn't even notice till today. He has never known. If he hears this, he'll actually be like, So I walk into the place, and then I'm all, hey, how are you? This is them. Welcome, madam, how are you? And I'm like, wow. Things could actually turn really fast. And then I pictured myself going back into that place. I think it was 2018. They were looking for a secretary. And I went and I applied to that role. And they were giving me this really hard test. They were making my life miserable. And I was literally crying and begging in that place for a job. To this same woman whose brother I am dating today. And I'm actually like her beloved brother's girlfriend. I don't know what, because today we are no longer dating. So, but she had some kind of respect for me then. Contrary to, she couldn't even remember me. She up to today, she never remembered. And I just, didn't bring it up. Just said, but anytime I walk into that place, I would always have like this thing about me. So that is the process of growth, because I wanted to be someone who inspired other young girls and made it change for them. I wanted them to be able to tell a different story. I want another young girl, if you're writing a book, don't write about traumatic experiences like this. Write about something else. Write about something nice, because this has made me a whole lot of a pessimistic person. Write about growth. Write about success. And actually success, not success being, I don't know what, in some job where, you're earning hundreds of thousands and you think that's the biggest you could ever earn. There's a lot more. So that drove me, that pushed me. Anytime someone would tell me no, I would go back knocking on the door, because I knew I can't make this work. And I'm really glad that today, I believe I've made it work. A lot of them look up to me, come to me and say, I would really like to be like you. And I say, well, if you want to be like me, first thing, stop going on Facebook with your smartphone. Go to Google and get some work done on your life.
I think I have a similar story myself. Google kind of did a lot for me, because looking at the environment back then, early days of Facebook and Google, when you had the really small tiny phones. All you could do was really search. And a lot of people spend those times doing a lot of trivial stuff, but I on Google searched so much. And I think the same way you were reading a lot of books, that is the same way I was searching so many things and Googling so much stuff, and basically assimilating all that knowledge on so many different things. I think it's a really important thing to do, but I get the feeling that is happening less and less, and we are consuming a lot more of things which add less value to our lives. But I guess that's just the happening today. And I think there's a big need for a bit more of that revival. People complain that there are no jobs, there are no opportunities, but speak to employers, everybody's having a difficult time finding a good candidate for a job. So you see that there's a big disconnect between the two sides.
Very, very right. I think that our young people, they don't realize that looking for a job is actually a job on its own. They think it's very easy. You would be where you are today after so many years of struggle, so many years of working on yourself, educating yourself. And someone comes and they're like, oh, I want to be like you. Okay, no problem. But in wanting to be like you, they don't want to go through that process that you went through. If they're looking for a job, they just want to have the job that you have now. And they're forgetting, like, if you could have had this job, like, you would have had it since. If you were here now, it comes from growth. And I actually tell young people two things when it comes to job, especially in our Cameroonian space. I tell them, there are two things. Are you looking for a job, or you're looking to build a career? Now, when you're able to answer that, the next thing I tell you is, if you want to build a career, you have to be ready to work for free. It hurts. They don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. There is no reason. I was still reading a post on Facebook as I just sat. And this man was talking about how a lot of young Africans, they rush to do master's degrees and PhDs, and they don't even want to have any work experience. And when they finish that, they want to come back, and then who is going to give you a job? You don't know how to do anything. You spent your time doing school. School is not how it works in the job space. Like, even just the ability, I was speaking with one of my younger girls a few days ago, and I was telling her, you are academically more qualified than me. You have a master's degree. It's now I am doing my master's degree. I've worked for over 5 years now since I had my first degree. And I started working even before for free. Now, if you come to me with your master's degree and you're saying, and I'm asking you, so what is the plan? Oh, you've been looking for a job, you're not seeing, so you're going on to do your PhD. I'm like, oh, so you're doing a PhD in what? Because even the master's, you did a master's in what? You did a master's in something you don't even know, you don't understand, you don't even like. Now, you want to come back and have a job, and I'm asking you, okay, what kind of a job? No, something that really, and then the first thing most of them will tell you is they give you a salary range for the kind of job they're looking for. Oh, I want a job that pays like, if it's for a start, because we're still managing, anything around 300,000 or to 500,000, it works. My God. The day I ever signed a contract for that amount of money, I was praising God all over my house. I was like, hey, I have come this far. Finally. It had already been over 5 years of me working. And you just think the fact that you went to a university, you had a master's degree, would give you $1,000 job. What do you know how to do? And I said, okay, you know what? Let me not talk too much. Let it not look like I'm underestimating you. Just email me your CV and maybe a cover letter, say for an internship or volunteer position or whatever. And then you're sending me an email. The email has no subject. It just actually has my email because I sent it to you. And you have just taken a document, you just attached it and you're sending it to me. But you want a job that pays $1,000. And then when I tell you, you know what, just get on your phone, do some research and do this properly. And then they come back and then they're like, oh no, can I tell them how to do it? And I'm like, wow. So tell me how, if I were a potential employer, I would ever employ you, even for 50,000 francs. Nobody picks the money. I mean, you work in something like resource, you know how hard it is to secure funding. It is from that funding that we get paid at our jobs. A lot of people just say, oh, when I for the NGO space, when I get money, no. We work hard to be able to get paid, like there are funds that you even secure only for salaries to be paid. And you think that somebody would pick an amount out of that and pay to you when you can't even write an email. When you don't even know what is the latest trends in the job world. Like, okay, if I were to be employable today, what do I need to? You don't know it. So, and you don't want to work for free. Because volunteering and interning means you're ready to work for free so you can learn. You don't want to learn, but you just want to be given the director position. Nobody will give that to you. Even us that we've been working for years, we're still looking for director positions. Nobody will give it to you. So I tell them, I remember when I had my first degree and my friends were going on to do their master's, I told them whatever I needed to learn at this level, I've learned it and I'm done. When it will be time for me to do my master's, I will do it. I've been working since then. And when I felt like, oh, now I want to, go deeper into my field, I started doing a master's. And it's a master's in something that is relevant, is current, media ethics and social change. We see the whole thing that AI is doing today. We know how communication could foster social change and also how it could impede it. I went on to do my master's. So me, compared to someone with my first degree working, that a manager could actually call me and say, okay, you know what, we have to do this thing, help me do it, and I can actually do it, compared to you with your PhD, and the manager has to start telling you how to do it, and my God, it's so frustrating even just thinking about it. There's no way you ever get a job. So 2 things. Are you looking for a job because, oh, you need to pay for your room, you need food to eat, or are you looking to build a career? Are you looking to become a leader in a field and help Africa change? And secondly, are you just looking for who would dash out money for you? Then maybe, I don't know, you should go join some funny scheme. Or are you ready to have your first degree? Look around. There are lots of startups today. They're looking for staff. They don't have money. Go help them out. Grow the place. And then use that in your CV to look for something. Go intern somewhere. volunteer. Lots of people, even in my own organization, I'm looking for people to help me because I don't have the money to pay. No one wants to help. Anytime you call someone, they're like, how much is it pay? So yeah, you won't get a job. I'm sorry. It hurts, but oops. There's only.
Yeah, it's something we've been discussing with friends. I think, the trend is for people to be way too certified and under experienced in different domains. The masters, the PhD, all of that is good, but at a certain point, if you've not had the experience, that matches that certification, then you're basically undercutting yourself, because at the end of the day, the interviewers are going to sit behind and say, this person doesn't have that much experience, but they have a PhD. Maybe they don't even know what they need to do. You're pricing yourself out of the market, and a lot of times, those certifications kind of already put you at a certain level of expectation. If you don't have any experience, maybe you're going to apply for an officer position somewhere. Your expectation then is already you're looking at a director's salary on an officer. So it's sometimes very difficult. I think, I agree with you. The way to go is really to you have your bachelor's degree, get some experience. If you want to go further, definitely you do a master's, and the more experience you have, the more you can go higher. And it's now that I really understand why a lot of the older people, someone is doing their PhD when they are much older. But for us, it's a bit different. Much younger, you're doing your PhD. Sometimes you're young, you don't even know what you want to do in 10 years time or in 20 years time. So you keep changing and changing so much, and it's not really a great thing. But that's the world of today. Yeah, and also just coming back to to some of the things you discussed in the book. I think you talked about that process that process of healing, that process of coming back and being able to find love and being able to build intimate relationships with people who after going through all this traumatic experience, all this difficult experience dealing with other people, how easy was that experience for you? And do you think the normal person, because obviously we agree that you're much you're not abnormal per se, but beyond the ordinary, do you agree that that's something that needs to be done in the life of those who have gone through all these difficult experiences?
Healing is definitely not an easy thing. It is not an easy thing. But you begin healing from when you begin to give yourself more grace. Like, you need to give yourself a break. You need to, stop questioning so much, stop doubting so much, stop feeling like you did something wrong. Because in most cases, a lot of people that are abused, the abuser or society, especially in situations when it's like mother-daughter, right? Because this same story, some people get it. And some people will tell you, they are so convinced that, no, there's no way your mother could ever. There must have been something. Are you sure that there was not something? And I put myself in that cage for so long until I got to a point where, breaking free. I need to break free from this. I need to stop and just learn to live my life. And even when you're past that, because this is something that has shaped your life, your thinking, your behavior for so long, it's ever present. Anytime you meet someone in dialogues, in relationships, in friendships, it's ever present. And I hear the phrase a lot, like, oh, the way you talk about it, it means you have not healed. I hear that a lot. But for me, I'm like, so what is healing for you? Healing means I should never ever talk about it again, pretend like it never happened. That's not healing. Healing is actually the fact that now I can actually sit here, I'm having a conversation about it. And at first I wouldn't even talk about it. Or I would cry myself. Or when I'm talking about it, you can feel it like it's, but I have healed because I have come such a long way with this. I'm actually using my own story to talk to people. And For someone else, it may not be the best approach. It may not be what works for you. You're not me. I'm not you. Not everyone is this vocal, like I was saying at the start. This is so many people's stories, but some people, they'll prefer to die with it. They won't ever evoke it. For me, I talk about it. That's the way I heal. And when you're now past that, you're now, you're in this limbo now where it looks like you have to start convincing people to believe that you have healed, or to start convincing people that it's not such a big deal. It's like you have to spend your time telling people that. And especially when it comes to like intimate relationships, right? It's very difficult. As I think that, first of all, as a successful woman, intimate relationships are very difficult. Now, as a woman who is successful and coming from something like this, and who is a go-getter, it makes it harder. Something like self-love. Self-love is one of the hardest things to do. It's one of the hardest ways to love, because you don't love somebody until you love yourself. And when you love yourself, as someone like me, you're focused. You know what you want. You know how to spot the red flags, if I call them that for lack of a better term. You know how to know when someone is saying something to you that is wrong, that does not make sense, or that is taking you back down that road where you have struggled so much to come out from. And then that makes you to be labeled as a woman. Because when you've not healed yet, it's about, oh, you know what, you need to heal. You need to relax. You need to be in your feminine energy. That's what they call it on social media. And I tell people a lot that everyone has a masculine and a feminine energy. You're not feminine because you're a woman. You're not masculine because you're a man. Any man has both energies, and they depend on circumstances. For people, being feminine means being able to relax. You just relax. You don't care about a thing. The only thing you struggle is you just struggle to look beautiful. You just struggle to speak with a soft voice, something that someone would like to hear, and stuff like that. You just struggle to say something nice and be soothing. To be masculine means to worry, to be here and think that, oh, my rent is due. How am I going to pay it? To be masculine means to go out in the sun and you've lost your job and you carry a tray of eggs on your head and you walk the street and you want to sell it. They don't like it. To be masculine means to hustle. Now, at the same time, those same people, they say, oh no, a good woman is one that does not depend on the man for livelihood. Those same people, when the good woman does not depend on the man, they say, oh, she's arrogant. Oh, she thinks because she has money, So it's so complex, after you've been through such trauma, you've built your confidence, you've healed, you're trying to move on, and you're just trying to let people accept you as you are. There's never a day I'm going to play a soft voice. That's not me. I can't, even if I tried. I've tried. But when I try it, I know. I can feel it inside me. I'm like, I'm in a prison. Can I breathe? Can I just be me? Because that's not me. You cannot want me to come and sit with you and be feminine. Feminine means I take all of the things that I do and I give them to you. And I'm already seeing you. We're already in a world where life is extremely hard. I wouldn't even want to be with someone who does everything to me. It doesn't make sense. Why are you doing everything for me? I have a mind. I have hands. I have a passion. I have talent. I can do stuff for myself. Yes, you can do stuff for me, and I can do stuff for you, right? And this is not, someone may interpret this as I'm advocating for a 50-50 kind of thing. And relationship will never be 50-50. Never. A woman will always give 100% of what she as a woman is supposed to give. And a man will always give 100% of what he is supposed to give. You may be in a relationship where a man is handling all the financial burden. But the woman too is handling all the emotional burden, because people don't see that man on the days when he comes back home and he's broken. That contract didn't go through at the job. His boss is making life difficult for him. They don't see when that woman is taking him all through it and telling him, you know what, you're strong, man. Then he is in his feminine energy, right? And no one is telling him that. The woman is in the masculine energy because someone has got to be strong. If not, you're both going to crash. So it's very hard when, as a woman, you've been through a certain history, you're making it in life. I never used to know about it, but I bet you, oh my God, the things I see with my eyes these days, and I hear, I'm like, wow, maybe I'm starting to believe those Nigerian films where, a man will be like, oh, I'm too rich. Let me pretend as if I'm blind so that I should see if she really likes me or she likes my money, that stuff. But yeah, it's an extremely difficult journey. You never really go out of it. And what has worked for me has been connecting myself with people who understand things, who have broad minds, who are not superficial, who know what it means when you've been able to pull yourself out of something like this. It's not just people, not even relationship wise. I've not even found that relationship yet, but sisters, friends, brothers, people like you, that you read the book, you get it. I don't need to be killing myself to be telling, no, I wrote about my mother like this because, and someone is not telling me a mother will never treat their daughter like this. Are you sure you did not do something wrong? Because people do ask me that, right? So it's an endless cycle. It's an endless thing where you continuously struggle to heal. Every day is a new challenge. Every day brings its own pains, it brings its own gains. The days when I'm all laughy, the days when you see me, and this me is not me at all. You see me driving on the street and I'm like, don't you even dare. And then the days when, you just relax and you're feeling good. So, it's endless, and the good and the bad days. So you take it as it comes.
So in the book, you talk about unlearning. That's basically leaving a lot of things behind. So what are some of the main things that you had to you feel like are very important to unlearn generally in life, not just for yourself, but for people in general, for people that have read your book, for people that people that are close to you, people that you mentor, and the public in general? What are some key things that you think are holding people behind that it would be in their best interest to unlearn?
First and foremost, you need to unlearn that you are not enough. That is a bad narrative. You are enough. You will only not be enough if you don't put in the work for yourself. Because it's a twisted narrative. People may have told you that you are not enough when you actually are. Or maybe you spend your time telling yourself that you're not enough, and so you don't struggle every day to rise out of that. But you need to unlearn that. You are enough. You have your place. You fit in perfectly into the puzzle. You just need to find it. Find your voice, like they say. Find your voice and, go get it. Go get it. You need to unlearn stereotypes. Stereotypes in the sense that, in my own case, all mothers are good. Not all are. And the fact that maybe you've had a certain relationship with them, I'm not saying that they are not good people. They may be good people. To those, they are good too. We all are like that. And some people who know us completely different from what others know. So you need to unlearn that, because you are in a certain context and there has been a lifelong narrative that has become the norm in that context. It means that when you question it, there is something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You need to unlearn that curiosity is not stubbornness. Curiosity is not arrogance. Confidence is not arrogance. You need to unlearn that. You need to unlearn that it is wrong to be proud of yourself. A lot of people say, oh, you're over high up. You're over proud. It is not wrong to be proud. If you sit back and you think through even your day, and like when I was driving here, I'm not very used to this side of town. So anytime I have to come towards this side, it's quite a challenge. And I was following the GPS, and anytime the GPS would say, okay, turn right, and I actually see where to turn right, I'm like, oh God. So when I came, and then it said, oh, you have arrived to your destination. I was like, you know what? I'm proud of myself, because I was afraid like I would have to be calling you to say, oh, I'm in this place, I'm stuck, what do I do? And I actually came and reached without calling you. I am proud of myself. Nobody, you won't tell me nothing. I am proud of myself of the kind of things that I do today. I'm proud of myself that I'm able to realize my vision. Young girls look up to me. It is not a bad thing that people look up to you. It is not, I don't know why people want you to feel bad for the success you've worked so hard to earn. I wasn't here a few years ago, so I have to be proud. You have to unlearn that. Being proud of yourself, it is not an issue. You have to unlearn that change would happen if you don't work for it. It would never happen. There are things that have been able to change for even people in my family today because I started questioning things. There are things in my family that people know that I can't go to Noella with this because no, I don't. They know I don't take that. If you're bringing that kind of mindset to me, there's no space allowed for it. Because I have had to work myself out of that mindset that limits me, that makes me think that the only thing I can have is the next step, when I can actually have the next 20 steps and even the next 50. I can be a lot more. You have to unlearn that coming from an underprivileged background, from a poor background. The fact that your parents were nobody, the fact that you went to funny primary schools, the fact that when your friends used to have milk for breakfast, you used to eat the remaining fufu, it means you can never be a president. You have to unlearn that. Currently, I work at the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Presidential Center. And when I look at Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's story, I'm like, young girls, if you've not realized it, then there's something wrong with you. These people didn't come from any privileged background. No one held her hand, but she became the first democratically elected president in Africa. Few days ago, Namibia was inaugurating their first female president. I was in Namibia last year when Dr. Netumbo was still vice president. And we were hosting this summit, and she was the patron of the event. When she was sitting there, nobody could believe that right now, if we were having that same summit and we had to invite her, there's high probability she might never come, because the way you would have to struggle to get her, because now she's president. Last year it was easy. She became president. She elected the first female vice president. Who does that? That's a first in the world for a female president and a female vice president to be sitting together. This is not about feminism, because people think feminism is all women are good, all men are bad. No, I am a feminist, but if I were to be in my family, I would be a traditional woman. But I'm a feminist. Feminism is about justice. It's about standing up for things that matter. There are men who are feminists and there are women who are not feminists. So that already just gives you an idea. Again, let me talk about Namibia. There's Emma Theophilus, Honorable Emma. Emma is the Minister of ICT in Namibia. Emma became minister at 24 years old. No one pushed her. I know Emma's story. It was not the kind of thing where you have big politicians campaigning for you. And no, people actually resisted even the fact, because she was parliamentarian before. She was deputy minister before minister. And people didn't want to. Everyone said she was a little girl. She didn't know anything. Da, 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 da. So if she could struggle through all of that, because sometimes when you hear the stories, you think that it's because life was easy for the people. It was not, and they made it. So tell me why, if you come from my village, Mbesa, this very small village somewhere in the Northwest, you would think that you can't live from there. My dream is to be the next UN SG. Well, not after Antonio, but probably along the lines my name would one day feature. And sometimes when I say it, I actually laugh because I know what it means and I know how hard, but I still dream it. Why not? What's wrong? Why not? Dr. Vera Songwe, she's a Cameroonian. She used to head UNECA. Why not? What is wrong? Rebecca Enonchon, she's a Cameroonian. She's high up there when it comes to tech in Africa. Why not? What is wrong with you dreaming? So if you don't unlearn it, and unlearning it isn't just sitting and saying, oh, if she could do it, then I can do it. No. Putting in the work.
Yeah.
Do your research. Get the job done. Stop spending your life on. It doesn't mean don't live your life. I live my life. I would go out to the club and I would dance anytime. But the times I would be in that club and I'm actually on LinkedIn, my friends already know me because they already know me. And if I see an opportunity on that LinkedIn as we're dancing in that club, I'm sending it to your phone and I'm telling you, apply to this thing. And I'm spending the whole evening telling you, did you look at the job description? What did it say? Funny enough, that's me. And I'm doing that thing and I'm dancing fully enough. So nothing limits you from spending your life as a young person. Not everybody is someone who would like to pick up responsibility. I'm just 30. Turned 30 a few days ago. I picked up responsibility really young. The people living under me, my organization, I could have, decided to use the money I earned from my job and just live my life. There's no problem with that. But some of us, we feel like we were sent on earth for a purpose. We are mission driven. We feel like I'm a Christian, I believe in God, so I feel like God put me here for a reason. He's given me the resources he's giving me for a reason. I want to take care of the next person. So if you sit because you're sitting in a room somewhere now in Bonas, like I was years ago, this very small room where you have to share a bathroom with tens of other people, and you're thinking that the next best thing that can happen to your life is you moving out of that room to a modern room, then you have a problem. The next best thing that can happen to your life is you can actually become Minister of Education in Cameroon. You can actually become president. Why not? You can actually become director of one big space and help many others. So unlearning is, even myself that I wrote the book, I haven't stopped unlearning. I know I listed like some things I've unlearned, but I'm still in the process. Every day I unlearn and I relearn and I learn. It's such a dynamic process. So, there's a wealth of things out there. I can't ever say it all because myself, I'm a student of life. And you need to be a student of life to move from your current state to the next and on to the next. So, yeah.
Thank you for that list. And I think some of the things you've already talked about, that's a big drive for why you started your organization, Girls Horizon. Did I say that right?
Horizon, yeah.
Horizon.
It stops people a little.
Girls Horizon, yeah. Really interesting. So what does Girls Horizon, what does the organization do? And, why are you passionate about that work?
At Girls Horizon, we tackle systemic barriers to girls' education and empowerment, limited access to school, period poverty, which is a big cause of girls' absenteeism, especially like secondary schools, and even making available economic opportunities, skills building. We run a scholarship program for young girls getting into university to get their undergraduate degree. We also, on the side, that's like the academic part of the scholarship, we also have a vocational part, technical and vocational, for girls who maybe aren't lucky or haven't had the chance to have their A-levels. So you can train in skills, sewing, hairdressing, whatever it is you're passionate about. And like I said, we also tackle period poverty because stemming from my own stories of many girls I know, menstruation stigma and lack of access to period products is still something that holds back young girls a lot. And then also on the side, there's the advocacy part. I'm an artist, so I use arts, theater for development, radio theater, film, to advocate. I showcase girl stories, just to recruit men as allies for gender equality and also just uplift the voices of women and girls in sharing their plight. And yeah, I started Girls Arising because that's the best way I can make sure that poverty, gender discrimination doesn't hold another young girl back. Fortunately, it didn't hold me back, but I know it holds back millions of young girls. So I want to make sure that I'm contributing my bit to bringing about the change that I want to see in the world. My dream at Girls Arising in terms of strategic vision is I plan to have 1,000 girls graduate from university by 2030. It's not an easy dream because education is money. Even though these girls, a school year for one of them is $100, 50,000 francs CFA, but still 1,000 by 2030 means 200 every year starting now. And that translates to $20,000 annually. Don't know how I'm going to get the money. From that 1,000, I have just 16 in university now. The first 5 will be graduating this year, but I know I will get that. I'm working on building Girls Arising as a community-based initiative. Hopefully we get some funders jump on board when we have had enough grassroots impact and people believe more in the story. There are also lots of my friends, are helping out, especially this year. My brother stepped in. They believe in the vision. A Facebook friend I just know, from Facebook, never met. He's in the US with his family. He believed in the vision, and he even goes an extra mile to make sure that away from the school fees, the girls maybe once in a while they have rent or something to eat or whatever. So that's the vision basically. If we can do more than 1,000, why not? But it's really, focusing on elevating Cameroonian girls through education, empowerment, and giving them just that platform where they can use their voices to advocate for themselves and for better futures for them and their families.
That's a really big mission. 1,000 girls through university is huge, and yeah, I hope you're able to get the funding to be able to make that possible. That would be amazing. A lot more girls need that support. Coming back to your book, you talked a lot about girls and those underprivileged girls. I think it's really a book of that girl, not you, but that girl that grows up in difficult circumstances but rises up to be something great, something exceptional in society. And I think it's a story that needs to be told even more and more. And it's a story that many more people need to talk about, need to acknowledge, need to support those who are currently going through that. And it's something that needs to keep being propagated. For you as the author of this, what is your hope? What is the big thing that you want the readers of your book, the audience that maybe hears about the message? What is the thing you want them to take away from that after reading the book, after hearing about it?
I think the first thing will be empathy. The ability for someone who has no idea what it means to actually put themselves in this young girl's shoe. To understand that we shoot a lot of stones at young girls in our society. Not saying we shouldn't, but just to say that sometimes you need to look at it holistically. You may see a young girl doing lots of things that are considered bad in our society, but you have no idea what her story is. And in telling my own story, so many of my friends, even classmates, they come to me today and they say, oh, I understand maybe why at this certain point in your life you were this kind of person, understand why maybe you were always so hard, you never smiled. So this story is a way for people to tell themselves that you never really know it all. A lot of people saw me growing up, even in my village. They never knew like this was my perspective of things. You would just see me do something, but you don't know why. For example, if you see me in a boy's house, you think, oh, I'm just going to a boy's house, but you don't know why. And it's not because the girls don't talk about it. They don't talk about it because society has made them not to talk about it. They're scared of what people will think. Like when you ask me about bearing all these details out there, everyone is afraid. Everyone wants people to think that they are good. They want to be seen in a certain light. So the first thing is have empathy for those girls. Think with them. Try to put yourself in their shoes. Life is extremely hard. And growing up as a poor girl from a poor background with little or no support is extremely hard. Do not be quick to judge, when a young girl comes to you asking for help. I know that a lot of people say, oh, sometimes you give out resources, you help them, and then you see them back in that situation. I had that happen to me too. There was a time when I would go to people to beg for money to pay my rent. But if you give me money to pay rent, the moment that rent finishes, I'm back to begging. So it's not like because you helped me once, it means that would have solved all the problems of my life. I didn't just have rent. Probably I just asked you for what I thought you could help me with. I don't have rent. I didn't have school fee. I didn't have food. I needed sustenance that needed to be sustained. So empathy, yes. And then the other thing is, young girl or young boy or whoever that you have around you, learn to listen. Give them space to share. Don't make them feel like there's something wrong if they speak up. Let them. Encourage them too. Because not everyone is very strong. Not everyone can contain stuff like this inside of them and make it work. Some young girls, not just young girls anyway, young people, and when you don't have support, even as adults, people commit suicide for stuff like this. People kill themselves because they think they're not worthy. They don't have any space in society. So learn to encourage people to speak up. And I'm a strong advocate of kindness. Kindness shaped the person I am today. Complete strangers I didn't know. They helped me. They encouraged me. If you can, if it's a meal, give someone beside you. If it's school fee, pay it. If it's clothes, give them clothes to wear. If it's a hospital bill, if you can, afford it. If it's $1 million and you can't afford $1 million, give them 100 francs. They will remember. For me, sometimes people tell me, oh, are you sure that this money that you give to all these people, are you sure they use it to do what they tell you? I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. When the people that gave me, I never used it for what I told them I'll use it for. I could go to someone and say, oh, please give me money. I don't have rent. And you give me and I take it and I buy a bag of rice. You've helped me. I remember all of those people from Facebook, total strangers. In real life, total strangers. I remember them. And anytime I'm giving to somebody, I'm thinking about how those people gave to me. They could have also said, a young girl, first of all, single mother with a child, it shows that you look wayward. I'm not sure I should be giving my money to, but they did give me. And today when they look at me, they're proud. If there are 1,000 of them and you think that they won't be able to make it, you would be surprised that maybe one would make it. And that one would pull others. The people that helped me, they thought they were helping me. But today, because they helped me, I am able to help others. And because I'm able to help others, 1 or 2 among those I'm helping, they will be able to help others. So it's just replicating that effect, right? And it's what we want to see in the world. That's how change comes. Change starts from an individual, then family, whatever, community, society. And, you never know. Sometimes just believing someone's story makes their day. I had this book, the stories you see here, I had been telling them for a long time. Not many people believe them. Sometimes you tell a story and people think you're just saying things. For example, I'll tell someone, oh, I have a baby, I gave birth at 17. They're like, hey, you young girls. And I'm like, no, it's not like that. There's actually a story to it. And they'll be like, that's what everybody says. I'm like, no. So, and it used to hurt me a lot when someone would think that I had a baby because I was wayward, because I didn't know what I was doing. If I was wayward, I wouldn't be here, right? So just try to listen, empathize, believe, and be kind. If you can. You must not. But I try to obligate myself to try to be kind to someone.
And in the final chapter of your book, you talk about forward ever. It's a very powerful expression. Forward ever. What does forward ever mean to you?
Forward ever means putting the purpose first, always. And the purpose for me is making life better for the next young girl. It's not about me. I told you I'm not religious, but I'm a God person. I believe in God. I believe in the teachings. So for me, I'm able to put myself through hard times to make sure that a young girl somewhere, she has it better. And I sacrifice myself lots of times. Everything I do, Honor Girls Are Rising, because there's a lot that I do too that is not officially included in there, to stranger young girls that I don't even know. Some reach out to me on social media. Some, their friends tell them about me, they reach out, and all of that comes from my salary from work. I don't earn much for the kind of work I'm doing. But the days when I can sacrifice that nice dress I want to wear, I can sacrifice that chicken I want to put in my pot, to make sure that if I'm cooking rice, she can have rice. I can sacrifice, that amount of money, I could have saved. Go put in some bank account and work around and, say how I've saved a lot. I save in people. I invest in people. That's what I like to say. I'm not someone, honestly, I'm not very financially careful, because for me, I don't see why I should carry lots of money, go put in a bank when there's someone out there that needs it. If no one needs it, it's okay. You'll be there until someone needs to. If it's there and someone needs it, I give it out. I don't care. That's the way I go at life, because I know I used to be that young girl. I used to kneel down in the funny rooms I used to live in, and I would pray and beg that if someone could just. And yeah, people did. People did for me. Sometimes it was hard. Sometimes it was easy. But if I was able, particularly my university life, if I was able to do those 3 years in that university and come out with a degree that I have used to get all the jobs that I've gotten today, it's because someone somewhere who didn't know me and who didn't care, they gave me their money. So I give mine to people. I give my food to people. I give my knowledge to people. I give my encouragements to people to make them just change that bad day into a good one. So yeah, for whatever, the purpose, always, God first, the purpose, then love. Why not?
Thank you, Noella, for all the great work that you do, for being that person that is giving out to the world. And thank you so much for telling your story.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And Noella's book on learning, breaking free, a transition from lovelessness, is available on Amazon in text and audiobook format. Link in the description. Get the book. It's an amazing story of resilience, of a girl's resilience and transition from a girl in need to a powerful and confident woman. Thank you very much, Noella.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bamai, for having me. Thank you for letting me use your platform. to amplify my story, to amplify what I do. And I'm hoping that, in this digital library where the recording will see that someday, even when you and I are no longer there, someone will fall on this and it will make their day. Thank you so much.